Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley, and welcome to Steelers Almighty. Pre-game show, the Steelers against the Las Vegas Raiders. Almost said Oakland, but the Las Vegas Raiders. Pittsburgh Steelers go on the road, 3-2 record, lost the last two games. Look here, people, this is must win. It's a must win game. And the reason that I say that is it's not because the Steelers that they're not going to win any other football games this year, that I don't believe that they're going to win any other football games this year. The reason I say it's must win is because if the Steelers can't be a serious enough football team to beat these Las Vegas Raiders the way that they currently look, these Raiders, then what's the point? Even if we do back into the playoffs, like we have the last two times that we've made the playoffs, say we back in, is anybody going to take us seriously? Should we even take ourselves seriously? That's what I'm saying, man. It's at some point you got to stand up and be a good team. Are the Steelers going to be a good team or are they not? Good teams put this type of team away. Period. End of story. A good football team, and I know we're banged up. I get it, but everybody's banged up. But good football teams put a team like this away. For example, the Denver Broncos, who the Steelers beat earlier in the season, put this team away just last week. So if the Steelers are really trying to be serious and are to be taken seriously, this is the game that they win, and they win by more than 7 points. Now, I've said it many times, the Steelers aren't a team that is going to just blow you out because we're not built that way. But that doesn't mean we can't force enough turnovers, get enough stops, score enough points, do the things that we need to do to win by more than a one touchdown. We can do that. And this needs to be that week. So let's get into this. Again, before we do, remember to like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. We're just on the brink. We're looking for 4,000 subscribers, or we're on our way to 4,000 subscribers, is what I should have said. And it's all because of you guys, man. Again, we started this channel April 4th of this year. We are growing. We appreciate everything that you guys have done for us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So just continue to be patient with us. One of the things that I want to let you guys know is right now, look, for the last couple of weeks, we haven't had all of our information out at the time, or our content out at the times that we normally do. Again, the reason for that, I mentioned this last night, but I'll mention it again today. My producer, the guy that does all the stuff on the back end of this, that puts it all together, all the graphics, everything that you see that looks cool, he does all of that stuff for me. He's my partner, but unfortunately, he has gone through two hurricanes. He's in Florida, and so he has gone through the last two hurricanes, man. So he's doing the best that he can. Um, so please continue to be patient. Like I said, I know it's not getting to you guys at the timely manner that we usually have it out, because we are really buttoned up when it comes to that. We think you guys deserve that. But unfortunately, Mother Nature has gotten in the way a little bit here, and has caused us not to be able to do it. I'm also pre-recording this live. I should say this. It's not a live, pre-recording, this pregame show, because I will be out of town, traveling. I've got other duties. I also have a channel, Big 12 Insiders, and that takes me to Boulder, Colorado this weekend. So I am going to be at the Colorado-Kansas State football game this weekend. So I will not be back in time to do a pregame live. Now, I will be back to do a postgame live, and I'll be able to see the entire football game. So don't think that I'm going to half-ass it on you guys. That's not going to happen. I'm going to get the whole thing in. So just wanted to get that precursor out there. Sorry for taking up your time to let you know. Let's get to this thing, man. Look, the Steelers got to win. Period. End of story. I don't want to hear any just bullshit about how they can't win this football game or shouldn't win. We're beat up. I get it. They're beat up. We're the better football team. The only matchup that basically doesn't jive with me, and I mentioned this in the scouting report, the only matchup is the Steelers pass rush trying to pass block Max Crosby. That's where they have an advantage. We have to be buttoned up on all of that. And I know it scares all of us Steeler fans out there to death that he lines up on Broderick Jones' side. That's where he lines up most of the time. A lot of times, the Raiders will move him around, but why move him around if he's going against Broderick Jones? Look, we love Broderick, man. We want Broderick to be good. We're begging for him to be good. I get it that his elbow is hurt. I 100% understand that, but that is not excuse for poor play. More importantly, it's not an excuse for poor effort. Not knowing what you're supposed to do, not getting off on the snap count. None of that is an excuse. And he can't use it as one, and you shouldn't let him use it as one. We want him to be good. We've seen him, what he can be on certain plays when he's engaged, but he's got to be engaged. And this is one of them weeks. Look, I fully expect the Steelers to give him a ton of help. Of course, they're going to give him a ton of help on that side. But there's going to be times where you can't, man. There's going to be times where he's just got to block him by himself. Well, come on, Broderick. Here's your opportunity, man. This is literally your opportunity. Are you going to do it or are you not? Let's see it this week. The rest of the line's got to be in tow as well. Look, I get it that Christian Wilkins is out, but the Raiders do a little something scheme-wise and stuff like that. Their defense isn't horrible. It's not horrible. So we got to be able to do something on that side of the football, mainly run the damn ball. Run the ball. Look, I was crushing Najee Harris the last 2 weeks until I did the all-22. And basically, the first 9 runs that Najee had last week against the Cowboys were 4 yards or better. He had 14 carries. Think about that for a second. The first 9 were 4 yards or better. There were some that were 6, but all of them were 4 yards or better. It wasn't until the last 5 where it was no gain, -1, no gain, no gain. That's a problem. So they were running the football, just got to be more consistent. And there were so many plays where it was just one guy. It was usually Broderick Jones, but it was one guy that didn't hold their water that kept it from being an even bigger gain. So the offensive line, you got to come to play. You got to come to play. Justin Fields, you got to come to play. Look, I mentioned this in the scouting report, man. Justin Fields, I think he's got to have a great game. I do. I've heard some other Steeler content creators saying, it doesn't matter. And, he's got the job until further notice. BS. Mike Tomlin has basically told us that Russell Wilson is the starter. And when he's 100% healthy, he's going to be the starter. Well, you knew he wasn't going to throw him out there this week. Well, next week, if Justin Fields just plays average, even in a win, even if it's a lopsided win, and he plays average, Russell Wilson will be the starting quarterback next week. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Now, again, if he comes out and plays great, that's a different conversation. Totally different conversation. But I also think the playing great has to result in a victory. That's number one. But if he comes out and he's just playing average football, and even if the Steelers win by 2 touchdowns, Russell Wilson will be the starting quarterback next week. Now, look, Justin Fields can't do it on his own, man. Number one, it starts with play calling. Trust the guy. Trust him, okay? Number 2, wide receivers. I'm sorry, you got to start getting separation. You got to start getting open. We'll get to George Pickens and what he's been doing here in a minute, but you got to start getting some separation. Number 3, we got to be able to run the ball. That's a lot on Najee, but mostly it's on the offensive line. Offensive line, you got to do that, and you got to protect the man, okay? If you can do those things, then let's lay it back on Justin Fields. Let's lay it on Fields' feet and say, trust your eyes, man. You see it, throw it. There's too many times where Justin Fields sees it, doesn't trust it, and then he doesn't throw it, and then he takes a sack, or he throws the ball away, throws it high somewhere else. We saw a ton of that against Dallas. No. See it, throw it. Stop. You be confident out there. You were confident the first 3 games. Last week, you took a step back. No more steps back. Sorry. And not to mention your job is on the line. So you want to take a step back if you want to, but you won't be playing anymore if that's the case. So see it, throw it, be accurate. When it's opportunity to run, go run. Start sliding. You know, I get it. Arthur Smith calling these wing T quarterback powers and quarterback sweeps, which are absolutely ridiculous. But they're gaining yards. But stop taking those hits, man. Stop taking those hits. I get it, but stop taking those hits. Arthur Smith, you have to help him. Okay? You have to help him. Call some stuff, throwing the ball down the middle of the field. Throw the ball deep down the field. Okay? Help Justin Fields be good. It's not all on him, and we can't expect it to be all on him. Okay? Now, to George Pickens. We saw what happened last week. The loafing. He was in 34 snaps. He was only in on 59% of the Steelers' offensive plays. I mean, that's ridiculous. And I know what he came out and said. Oh, you got to blame. You got to ask Arthur that why I wasn't in there. He doesn't know anything about the eye black. He wasn't in the league when Cam got fined. You know, he's blaming the refs for certain things versus just saying, hey, man, I have got to be better. He could have ended it all. He could have even answered every single question with saying, I've got to be better. That's all he had to say. That's all he had to say. It wasn't good. I have to be better. He didn't do that. And here we sit. It's ridiculous. But don't get me wrong. I expect George Pickens to have a big game. I think he will. And not only will George Pickens have a big game, he'll have a big game. Then he'll come to the media, which he only did one time this week. He'll come to the media afterwards and say, I got the receipts from everybody. You know, you all were bad mouthing me, this and that. I believe in my abilities. I know who I am. Well, we know who you are too, George. It isn't about your ability. It's never been about your ability. Everybody knows you're a top 5 talent, but playing receiver or just playing in the National Football League alone isn't just talent. It's more than that. There's plenty of guys that have talent that are not in the NFL right this very second that could be. Hell, you want to talk about it? Antonio Brown can still be in the NFL if he wanted to be, or if he could be, if he wasn't a head case. You're telling me there's 10 receivers out there that have better feet and quickness and getting off the line than Antonio Brown right now? No, there's not. He could be there. So George Pickens, come on, just be better. We don't need you to talk. We don't need you to say anything. All we need you to do is give the effort and just be better. That's it. Use those as your receipts by just getting better. Get even with everybody. Guys like me and all the content creators and media guys out there. Get even with all of us with just your play and don't say anything. It's fine. Or even if you want to say anything, go ahead and talk your stuff, man. We're all good with it, but give the effort. Because if you don't give the effort, nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to hear it. To the defensive side of the ball. Last week was atrocious. Let's just call it what it was. Last week was atrocious. Patrick Queen, come on, man. Come on, man. They're basically running at you, and you're not making any tackles. You're being blocked. You're trying to run around blockers. That doesn't work in this league. Never has, never will. You've got to be better. You've just got to be better. They're scheming the Steelers into a lot of nickel situations. So when they're in nickel, that brings Peyton Wilson into the game. But then what they're doing, that's what Dallas did. Dallas went into 11 personnel. Beanie Bishop was on the field, but then they also had Peyton Wilson, and then they just ran the football. So that eliminated a Landon Roberts from a lot of those situations where they're running the football. So Peyton Wilson, you got to get better, my man. I get you're a rookie, but you got to be better against the run. You just have to be, because that's what teams are doing to the Steelers right now. That's what Indianapolis did. They attacked our middle linebackers. The Cowboys, when they ran it, they did. But the second biggest problem was I don't even know if you would say the second biggest problem. It was probably the biggest problem was Beanie Bishop. Just not NFL caliber right now. I'm sorry. I know people that Beanie Bishop fans don't want to hear that. Hell, if you've listened to this channel long enough, you know that I'm a big Beanie Bishop fan. But we know what we saw. We've seen enough the last few weeks to say, yeah, man, I get it that he's made a couple of tackles. I get that. But does that outweigh just being constantly attacked? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And I know everybody is saying, wait till Cam Sutton gets back. We got to have Cam Sutton back. And that's true. But think about how good the Steelers were early in the season. Cam Sutton wasn't here. Corey Trice was out there. And they put Corey Trice on the outside, and they moved Dante Jackson to the inside. That's what's missing. Corey Trice being hurt is the problem. I think people may have forgotten that because, again, he didn't play that long. He got hurt, but Corey Trice is the key. Beanie Bishop wouldn't be out there. Well, he is, and they're going after him. And I don't know how you get it. You got to try somebody else at this point, I would think. But we'll see what happens. Either that or Beanie Bishop, you got to just man up. You got to man up and stop letting teams attack you. You got to do it because it was a problem against the Cowboys. They just sought you out, and they just kept torching you, and it is what it is. The scheme isn't great. We got two man corners. Dante Jackson and Joey Porter Jr. are outstanding man corners, but yet Terrell Austin / Mike Tomlin want to continue playing a two-deep zone or playing zone coverage. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Let the guys play man coverage. Hell, Joey Porter Jr. used to travel with receivers last year as a rookie. He can't do that now. Even if you don't want him to travel, you can't say, okay, he's just going to man up somebody. Come on, man. The scheme isn't great. Let's just call it what it is. The scheme isn't great. But we got to have more. I've been on Mika Fitzpatrick's case. Mika's been around the football. Mika's making tackles. But we need some splash plays from Mika. We just do. Again, I'm not saying Mika's a bad football player. I'm not saying that he's been the cause of what's going on the back end. I'm not saying any of that because that's not true. It's just not. But what I am saying is we didn't pay him $18 million to just make tackles in the defensive backfield or to make tackles 6 and 7 yards down the field. That's not why we paid him. We paid him to make splash plays, force fumbles, knock passes away, intercept passes. That's why he gets paid the money that he gets paid. Gets everything on the back end, make sure everybody knows what's going on, and then he goes and make those splash plays. He's got to start doing that. He's got to start doing it. And I think he will. This will be a big opportunity for him and Deshaun Elliott to do some work here. This is their time. This is their time. But the bottom line is defense just has to be better than what it was. It has to be. Don't let the Raiders can't run the football, but Dallas couldn't run the football either, and yet they found a way to do it. The Raiders can't run it either. So the Steelers have to just say, okay, you're not going to run it. You're just not going to run the football. I don't care what you do. You're not going to run the ball. You're not capable. Here's the thing. Dallas had the linemen to be able to run the ball. I think it was they couldn't find the right combination of running backs to run it, wanting to give guys too many carries. But the interior line, just the line in general, isn't terrible with the Cowboys, okay? The line with the Raiders is trash. It's trash. And so I don't want to try to conflict the two or anything like that. It's terrible. And if they're able to run the football against the Steelers, our defense, again, Chris Canty said it after we played the Colts. I said it after we played the Cowboys. If the Raiders are able to run the football, I don't even know if you would say we're frauds anymore. We would just say the defense is just not good. It's just not any good. That's what we would say. So we got to stop all of that, okay? Mike Tomlin, okay, if the Pittsburgh Steelers have to come out ready to play this football game. And what I mean by that, enough of the slow starts, okay? Enough of, where it's self-inflicted wounds. I don't care. How about we not make the self-inflicted wounds? And I know what some of the Mike Tomlin apologists are going to say out there. Well, he's not the one committing the penalties. Yeah, but he's allowing it. When do we hold these guys accountable? I don't even know what you can do. You can fine them. He talks about bringing in refs. Nothing has worked. How about we just get guys in positions and put them in positions to succeed? How about we just be ultra aggressive at the beginning of the game? How about we do that and say, guys, we're going to come out ultra aggressive. We're going to throw the ball down the field. We're going to blitz. We're going to do things out of character to try to get us off to a good start. Because he said they've tried all these different things, but they haven't tried being ultra aggressive, have they? No, they haven't. This is the time for them to be ultra aggressive. Stop all the bullshit. Stop the nonsense. Come out and be aggressive and let the chips fall where they may. But all this passive and, well, let's just see what the defense is going to try to give us. And no, that isn't working. Okay? And I know many people say this all the time. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, but expecting a different result. I feel like that's what the Steelers continuously do at the beginning of football games. And then we come out, once we figure out, oh, you know what? Maybe we should be a little bit more aggressive. It's amazing how things open up and start working. I don't even know how many times the Steelers have blitzed this year. I'm not sure. Maybe they're afraid of the back end. I don't know. But I think you got to start blitzing. Blitz middle linebackers, double A gap blitz, anything. Zone blitzes. I mean, we got to do something. We've got to do something to mix things up. Okay? We just got to do something, especially with TJ Watt being basically our only outside linebacker. We'll see what happens. I know the other guys are hurt, Highsmith and Herbig. They're even talking about putting Loudermilk at outside linebacker. Okay, fine. That leads me to believe we're going to need to get some pressure from other places. I thought Peyton Wilson would be a guy. I saw him do it a ton at NC State. Mike Tomlin, they flat out asked him in the press conference on Tuesday, hey, does Peyton Wilson have some outside linebacker rush capabilities? He said, no, he doesn't. I'm like, well, damn. Okay. And maybe he will. Maybe he was just saying that in the press conference, but Mike Tomlin's usually not the guy to do that. You know, he'll give you coach speak, don't get me wrong, but he's not going to say a guy can't do something when they actually can. He's usually not. He doesn't give you that. You know, his transparency when it comes to something like that is pretty crystal clear. And he said no. So I don't know, man. I don't know. But I do know that something's got to change. The Pittsburgh Steelers got to come out ultra aggressive. They got to come out and say, we're going to bury this team. Again, they're professionals too. They get paid too. So they're going to have some pushback and some fight. But the Steelers are a better football team. Period. End of story. They are a better football team. And if they're the better football team, then the better football team needs to show up. They need to show up early, and they need to show up all game, all 4 quarters. Put something together and go win a football game by more than 1 touchdown. Go win a football. Go be dominant in this game to say, you know what, guys, the last 2 weeks, not so much. We can be a dominant team. If Denver can do it, why can't the Steelers? I'm just going to throw that out there. If Denver can dominate the Raiders in their current state, then why can't the Steelers? That's all I know. That's all I know. So, all right, man. I appreciate you guys. Again, big game. I think it's a must-win game. I think it's a game we got to win and be dominant in. I appreciate you all. Remember, like, follow, subscribe, leave those comments like you always do, man. And remember to hit the notification bell to let you know when all Steelers Almighty content comes out. You can always find us at youtube.com/Steelers Almighty. Also, anywhere that you see social media, Steelers Almighty is there. Make sure you subscribe and follow. And if you prefer the audio version, make sure that you subscribe anywhere that you get a podcast to Steelers Almighty. Our line, our rant line, make sure you call in now, before, after, during the game, whenever you want. That number again is 412-444-8390. 412-444-8390. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Let's go get one, Steelers. Let's go get one. Aloha.